Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Mega Warriors 2 in the 1% Club. I got glare in the thing here. Let me see if I can move it ahead a little bit. There you go, my friends. A little bit better. I'll try to get that glare out of the way. All right, guys. How are we doing today? Hope you guys are conquesting yourselves, conquesting things around you, and allowing yourself to follow God's purposes. It's always good to be back with you. And like I said, I'm going to have to do more of these more often. Just finishing a lot of things at school, at different places I'm working with and trying to get ready for the Christmas break. I'm going to try to do some more Christmas breaks. But let's kind of get to it because that's what you guys want to hear all the time. Let's do some shout outs real fast. I got to catch up on some of these too as well. John James, thank you for your shout out. Thank you, my friend. Johnnie, thank you. Volk, thank you. Mr. Van Dam, thank you, my friend. Christink, thank you, my friend. Christink. Marion Jackson, thank you. Lykkos, as usual. James Koral, thank you. Chex, thank you. Tomsaint-leger, thank you. JoJoAces, usual. QYF4453, 167 days. Keep it up, my friend. Keep it up. Knowledge Harvester, thank you, my friend. Let's see. Kunaldaiyon 2126, thank you. EA7, thank you, my friend. Fran Geek, thank you. Dermot Haynes, thank you. Ablayejasse, thank you. And Ben3113, thank you guys very much. All right, so the topic we're going to talk with is an interesting one. And this comes from a Jovial Flaccid 548 Flacio. And this is a should we go back to Chasity Locks? I love it. I love it. All right, so let's talk about this one a little bit at the 2-minute mark. So should we go back to Chasity Locks? So let's go back to the evil days, the medieval days probably, and a little bit maybe before that a little bit as well. And back in those days, because they had a lot of the similar type issues that we have now. A lot of people who have lack of self-control. You see, warriors, the ideas that we see nowadays are no different than they've had for thousands of years. One of the things that you notice as you go through the Bible and go through a lot of religious types of texts, and you just look at the observation of the world, you'll realize, and we are, though we are warriors, we're also gentlemen warriors, and this is something that's important to know as we look at this, is the idea that as we see the world, there are so many stories that you have, and most of them repeat each other. Over the years, they repeat. Because human nature can only be so many ways. We can act only so many ways. Yes, you can get taller as the time goes on. You get more muscular. You can do different things with your body. But human nature and the soul, there's only so many things you can do. The outside can change, the technology, all these things can change, but the inside cannot change. That's the soul. That's what God has given you to operate. It's almost like running an engine of a car, or the spark that sparks the carburetor and the car starts to go. That is your soul. That is Christ in you, in my opinion. Now, because of that, what happens is that we only have so many stories, human nature stories, human stories that we can tell. And as a result of that, then, what happens is that they repeat each other over and over again. This is why we talk about all these civilizations that last about 200-300 years, and they fall by the wayside. They don't fall because of all those forces coming in. Oh, they eventually do, yes. But they fall first because the internal lascivious behaviors, the carnal behaviors, the sinful types of, moving away from God and having a lack of self-control. And obviously, as we deal with our society at this moment, you see a lot of that stuff happening. Now, whether we're going to go to the side of the wayside of the Romans, one day our society will change as well. We may not be the power that we thought we were, and we might have been, at one point in time. Because what happens is that we destroy ourselves from inside. And this is something that happens because of generations following the one that started it all to get the country together and become that strong force. Those generations don't remember the hard work that people had or the level of self-control. So in order to start, we'll go back to something like the Pilgrims, or the people who started England, or the people who started all these countries. They had to have immense self-control. They couldn't be having sex with everybody. They couldn't be eating like crazy. I mean, they'd be sick or they would die. They couldn't go ahead and gamble. They couldn't go ahead and murder everybody, right? They had to protect life. They had to make it well so their families and kids could live and grow and all those type of things. And so that all was very positive, and that ended up leading to towns and cities being, together. So one of the things that really was very popular at one point in the world, many, many years ago, is a chastity lock, in which you had a lock on a woman, and you could not get to her area that you needed to do to go ahead and have intercourse with that young lady. So because of that, we had actual things locks. Now, it seems kind of barbaric to this day that we had that, but it also is more symbolic than anything else. And the symbolism really comes through with the fact was, well, if you could not go ahead and get access to that, would the male population be more subdued as far as their sexual tendencies? And I don't have any research on that, so I have to kind of go back and look at that. I think it's a good topic here. And who was the one that gave us topic? We had, Jovial Fasico 548. Yeah, so when you look at that, it's very important to look at the idea that those things are really something that we did in society to try to stop this curve of self-destruction. Now, in the Middle East and other countries, you have women who are being covered by clothes so you don't see all their curves and parts, so that men are not attracted. See, this goes back to the visual aspect of things. Men are very visually oriented. When men look at women, men look at the visual parts, and that's what attracts them to want to mate. Women tend to look at different things with men. Potential, nurturing, families, all these things are different types of things. It's not necessarily the physical. And the physical plays a part of it, of course, even at some conscious level. That's why women are attracted to you when you're on retention. But the bottom really line that we're talking about is men don't need to cover themselves up. In fact, you can see men going bare-chested and things like that, and there's no issue with that. Because women don't have that kind of drive like that. And I'm not saying they don't have sexual drive. They don't have that kind of drive like we're talking about, where men basically have trouble controlling themselves. And this is where you get into the situation of the society tries to put on symbols and actual stoppages so men can't do that. We don't have that in a society right now. We, of course, don't have locks. Now, should we go back to locks? I don't know. I think it's a little bit more barbaric than that. But the idea is a good one you're talking about here, is at least from a psychological standpoint, men need to put locks on themselves. And they made to think of women with locks on. Now, this is a way, and I think it's great that you came up with this idea. This may be a way then, from a psychological standpoint, for men to be gentlemen, and when it comes to this type of behavior, and not be wild animals enough to control themselves so you're not releasing. And once again, we go back to the whole idea of why we're talking about this, why we talk about this under semen retention. And the idea is you want to control yourselves so you're not losing that vital force you need to have. Because what you're doing is killing yourself when you do that. And as you do that, you become stronger and stronger and stronger. Now you're at a point where you now can achieve things and become that masculine male that God wants you to become. And we have so much of a lack of that in our society now. I think it's coming back little by little. Men are beginning to realize, I hope not too late, that we need masculine forces out there. Women are so attracted to this, it's just unbelievable. I see this and I'm 63 years old. I've been happily married for 31 years. The women will not stop. This is like, get them out of here, because they understand what they're missing subconsciously. It's not a conscious thing, I don't believe. I think it's subconsciously, because most women want to have children, And especially as they hit their 30s and they hit that proverbial wall we talk about, they're now desperate because society has given them, I think, a false bill of goods here by saying, okay, get your career together, have your career. Men will want you in your 30s. Men do not care about women's careers. They want a feminine woman who wants to have a family and kids and take care of the home. And I'm sorry, but that's kind of the way it is. And you go against that society, what happens is that, you change the forces of nature. And so you have a lot of lonely women out there. Now, men don't help the situation at all and created the situation because they're weaker. And because of the lack of fathers, lack of other things in society and society norms and all these things have been given to men, putting men down, saying toxic masculinity is bad, all these things, right? They've helped create the situation because males are not strong. Males have become more feminine. Because of that, they're not masculine. And females have to take that upon themselves. It goes against all nature to do that. But again, this is the same story that's happened in all these scenarios in the past, whether it's the Roman Empire, the Incas, the Mayas. It all goes back to the same old things. When women start changing roles and men act like women, women act like men, all of a sudden you have a society decaying. And that's what's happening here. I think from a psychological standpoint, this is a great idea. If you can go ahead and think to yourself that this woman you're interested in, she has a chastity lock and you can't get in there at all, that's a good thing. Because that's going to prevent you then from going after her in that way. And until you want to procreate, which to me is always the only way you do it, is that then all of a sudden you're at a different point where you can say, okay, let's focus on this person as a real person. Let's not focus on this person as any kind of creature that I'm going to mate with. And now you appreciate that person a lot more as more of a tremendous relationship you have under the Lord with that person. So as we talk about this is a key type of thing. So I love this idea a lot, especially from a psychological standpoint. Obviously, from a physical standpoint, you're never going to see something like this. I mean, this is kind of unless you're doing some crazy deviant behavior, which some people do. But you don't want to get into that type of stuff because that gets you down that bad road again. And I've, been there, been lots of places at 63 years. But you don't want to go down there. You want to stay away from that situation. You want to go ahead and basically say, okay, from a psychological standpoint, I'm going to look at women as having locks. I cannot get to them, and so I'm not going to try. And therefore, move on, achieve your goals, focus on yourself, get better as time goes on, and you're in good shape. So I think there's a key to it. I think you want to save as much energy as you can, transmute it, and we'll do talk more about those things probably in other types of broadcasts. So, all right, my friend, once again, Jovial Fastio 540, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your suggestion. Again, guys, I'm going to see if I can catch up with shout-outs and things like that over the next couple days. Let's see if we can do another one a little sooner than a week and get those done. I know you guys are asking for that, and I will continue to kind of do that and get you guys that way. So, all right, always two things to leave you guys with. One, every day is a great day to a new warrior. I probably say every day is a new day to a great warrior, which is what I really meant. I appreciate you guys a lot for that. And secondly, guys, this is a battle. We know it's a battle. We've got to continue fighting this battle until the last day we're here. Build that list. I think I'm up to, almost 1,600 or close to that. I don't even count anymore. But you got to keep building it up. Monk mode is not easy. Got to focus on monk mode. Focus on your ability to look at women. In this case, I love it. Chastity locks, all of them. To be able to kind of focus on just focusing on them as a person and getting away from the sexual tendency. It's going to make you desperate. It's going to make you want to chase that woman. Never chase women. Never chase women. And because of that, they come after you. But you're stronger if you look at them in a certain way. And this is what I'm talking about. So, God bless you guys. And don't forget to battle on! God bless you guys. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.